I want to relate a little story about my great grandfather who never trusted doctors in his life ever. He avoided them like the plague, and actually he lived well into his 90s. um, I didn't want to put a picture of him up here, so trust me, I'm a doctor. There you go. How's that? But I didn't want to put a picture of him up here. But true story, when he was 50 something years old, back in I think it was 1930s. He had a stroke, and they called the doctor to the house, and he's walking up the driveway. Well, my little grandpa, great grandfather, he hated doctors so much. He actually pulled out a shotgun and pointed it at the doctor, and told him to get the hell out of there, leave him the hell alone. And he took off running, of course. But it was interesting. He lived to be another 40 something years older, and will live well into his 90s. Now, that was a person that was extremely old school, and everything he did was off of vegetable garden, that type of thing, natural foods. Some of the Italian herbs and stuff like that. And during the Great Depression, what he did, he kept all his money not in the bank, and he was from Italy, right? Not in the bank. He kept it in the walls of the house. Paper money. But back in the 30s, dollars were backed by gold, and he kept it in the walls of the house. Right in the drywall. And actually, nobody even knew inside the family. Only he knew. Which, that's a true story. But I always think back to what he did to that, with the doc. And actually, I think, if the doctor would have messed with him and gave him some garbage, he probably would have killed him. So that's kind of like my attitude with doctors, too. I don't trust them. So I had to relate this little story, but it's a very true story. And in his case, he just stuck with natural things. And natural things seem to work far better than anything that's given from the pharmaceutical snake oil salespeople out there. They call whatever they call them, medical professionals. But he considered his life threatened when that doctor was coming up there to heal him, supposedly, and he acted accordingly. He said, "You get the hell away from me." And that's what he did, and he lived for way over 4 decades longer before he finally died. But he was very active all his life, very solid, very strong. So, I figured I'd point that out, and he knew the wisdom of not using banks or trusting banks. He was wise to that before, people got burned in the banks in the 30s by bank failures. He didn't trust them back then. So, there's a lot of things I don't trust about different things. I look out for different angles. But you can actually do your own healing, and it is good to keep physical silver. That's one of your number one investments. Also, physical gold, and maybe some physical paper products out there that buy stuff, because it still does buy stuff. Back in the 30s, he did not keep any gold. He kept physical paper notes because the money was good as gold back in the 30s. That money really was, and that was in short supply. Actually, quite a bit of it too. I don't want to say, but it was quite a bit. But it was all in the walls. All of it was in the drywall. And the family didn't even know until years later. Kept it quiet even from them. Interesting.